There's a dangerous idea that has quietly crept into our culture. It's the idea that success can be hacked, that growth can be accelerated, that you can skip the struggle and still earn the reward. Everywhere you look, there's someone promising a shortcut. Do this one trick and you'll get results instantly. Follow this formula and your dreams will happen overnight. But let's be honest, that's not how real progress works. There are no hacks, no secrets, no magic formulas. The work itself is the shortcut. We live in a world that celebrates speed. We want faster success, faster validation, faster results. But speed often comes at the cost of depth. True mastery, whether in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth, isn't built by finding the quickest path. It's built by showing up every single day, consistently, patiently, and deliberately, even when nobody's watching. Think about it. Every extraordinary person you admire, every achievement that inspires you, none of them came from skipping steps. They came from repetition, discipline, and persistence. The athlete who stands on the podium didn't get there by watching motivational videos. They got there by waking up before dawn, by practicing when they didn't feel like it, by embracing the boredom of routine. The artist whose work moves the world didn't find a hack for creativity. They found a rhythm of practice, feedback, and refinement. The entrepreneur who built a thriving business didn't discover a secret formula. They built systems, learned from failure, and stayed consistent long after enthusiasm faded. The truth is, the process you're trying to avoid is the very thing that transforms you. The hard work, the repetition, the learning curve, that's where character is formed. That's where resilience grows. And that's where skill becomes mastery. If you remove the struggle, you remove the strength. The reason people chase hacks is because the real path looks slow. But that's only because we misunderstand what slow really means. Slow doesn't mean unproductive. Slow means deliberate. It means intentional. It means sustainable. It means you're building something that lasts, something that won't collapse the moment life tests it. If you commit to doing the work, not for applause, not for quick rewards, but for the sake of getting better, you'll realize something powerful. The process is the shortcut. Every moment you show up, even when it's hard, you're shortening the distance between where you are and where you want to be. Not because it's easy, but because you're becoming the kind of person who can handle the result you're chasing. Success doesn't happen when you find the right trick. It happens when you stop looking for one. When you accept that every shortcut you take will eventually circle you back to the starting line. The work you avoid today becomes the obstacle you face tomorrow. But the work you embrace today becomes the strength that carries you forward. So stop searching for the hidden key. Stop waiting for the perfect system. The real shortcut is simple: show up, do the work, and stay consistent long enough to let time reward your effort. No hacks. No secrets. The work is the shortcut. 5 keynotes of the speech: there are no shortcuts to mastery. Consistency and discipline are the real advantage. The struggle you try to avoid is the path that shapes your strength and character. True success is built slowly through deliberate and patient effort, not speed. Every shortcut eventually brings you back to the starting line. The work you skip becomes your future obstacle. When you embrace the process, you become the person capable of sustaining long-term success. There are no shortcuts to mastery. Consistency and discipline are the real advantage. We live in a world obsessed with immediate results. We scroll, swipe, and click our way through life expecting progress to happen as fast as the next notification. We want the six-pack without the workouts, the business without the grind, the recognition without the repetition. But mastery doesn't bend to the rules of speed. It belongs to those who commit to the long game, those who understand that consistency isn't glamorous, but it's what separates the average from the exceptional. Discipline doesn't always feel good, but it's the bridge between intention and accomplishment. Consistency is not about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up when it's hard. It's about honoring your commitment when motivation disappears, because motivation will always disappear. You can't depend on feeling inspired every morning, but you can depend on the habit of showing up. The difference between the person who gets better and the one who stays the same isn't talent, it's persistence. It's the decision to keep going when progress feels invisible. True growth happens in those quiet moments when nobody's watching. The early mornings, the late nights, the repetitions that seem to blend into one another. Each of those moments compounds slowly, invisibly, until one day the results become undeniable. Mastery is not a moment. It's a process. It's built through the boring work, the mundane practice, the routine that others avoid. People often quit not because they lack potential, but because they can't tolerate the pace of real progress. They chase new methods, new hacks, new ideas, hoping to find something faster, easier, more exciting. But every time you switch paths, you reset your momentum. You trade depth for novelty, and you lose the very consistency that builds excellence. The people who seemed to rise overnight didn't actually rise overnight. They spent years building foundations, quietly, persistently, while others were still searching for shortcuts. Discipline is what protects your consistency. It's not punishment, it's freedom. It's the ability to stay true to what matters most, even when you don't feel like it. It's doing what's necessary, not just what's convenient. When you rely on discipline, you stop negotiating with excuses. You stop asking, do I feel like it today? And start saying, this is what I do. That shift from feeling to doing changes everything. You no longer depend on bursts of motivation because your behavior is guided by purpose. The strongest people aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who do what they said they'd do despite the struggle. Consistency and discipline also build trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you follow through on your promises, you strengthen your belief that you can rely on yourself. That self-trust becomes a quiet confidence that compounds over time. When you say, I'll do it, and you actually do it, your identity begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries, and you start seeing yourself as someone who does. That's when you become unstoppable. You're no longer driven by outcomes alone. You're driven by who you're becoming through the process. The truth is, mastery isn't reserved for the most talented, it's reserved for the most consistent. Talent can give you a head start, but consistency decides who crosses the finish line. Every expert, every professional, every master of their craft has spent thousands of hours practicing what others gave up on. They faced failure, doubt, boredom, and still kept going. That's the secret people don't want to hear. That the edge isn't intelligence or luck, it's endurance. The willingness to keep doing the small, unexciting things for an unreasonably long time. There will always be people who seem to get ahead faster. They may find success early, but without discipline, they won't sustain it. Consistency is what makes success repeatable. It turns effort into habit and habit into excellence. When you commit to the long game, you stop being in a race with others and start competing only with your previous self. You measure progress not by how quickly you move, but by how consistently you grow. Every repetition matters. Every small effort compounds. You might not see the results today or even this year, but that doesn't mean it's not working. The same way a seed grows underground before breaking through the surface, your progress is happening beneath what's visible. The key is to stay faithful to the process long enough to let the results catch up. That's what consistency and discipline do. They buy you time for your efforts to bear fruit. So when you're tempted to look for shortcuts, remember this mastery doesn't come to the most talented, it comes to the most consistent. Every day you show up and do the work, you're building an invisible advantage that compounds quietly until it becomes unshakable. That's the real edge. Not hacks, not secrets, but the relentless commitment to doing the work again and again until the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The struggle you try to avoid is the path that shapes your strength and character. Every person wants to grow, to evolve, to become someone better than they were yesterday. But the moment the process becomes uncomfortable, most people back away. They tell themselves the pain isn't worth it. The pressure is too much. The progress is too slow. Yet what they fail to see is that the struggle they're avoiding is the very thing designed to shape them into who they need to be. Growth never comes from comfort. It comes from tension, from facing what's difficult and learning to endure it. The moments that test you are the moments that define you. We live in a time where ease is glorified. We're told to find balance, comfort, and convenience in everything we do. But comfort rarely teaches you anything. When life feels easy, you don't adapt, you don't stretch, and you don't evolve. Struggle is life's way of preparing you for more. It builds resilience, deepens understanding, and strengthens your ability to handle whatever comes next. Every challenge you face carries a lesson that can't be learned any other way. The problem is we want the lesson without the hardship. We want the transformation without the process. But that's impossible. You can't grow muscles without resistance, and you can't build character without adversity. Think about every major turning point in your life. The moments that truly changed you weren't the ones that felt easy. They were the times you faced loss, rejection, or failure. They were the nights you questioned yourself, the days you felt stuck, the times you had to push through fear or uncertainty. Those moments felt unbearable at the time, but when you look back, they were the seasons that taught you who you are. You learned patience, empathy, strength, humility, not from your victories, but from your struggles. It's through pain that perspective is born. It's through resistance that identity takes shape. Most people misinterpret struggle as a sign that they're doing something wrong. They assume if it's hard, it must not be meant for them. But the truth is the opposite. If it's challenging you, it's changing you. Struggle is the signal that you're on the right path. The path of growth. Anything worth having will demand something from you. You can't expect to become stronger without being tested, just as you can't expect to master a skill without frustration. Every step of progress requires a sacrifice of comfort, of ego, of certainty. That's the price of becoming more than who you are right now. When you learn to embrace struggle instead of running from it, something powerful happens. You begin to see obstacles not as barriers, but as opportunities for refinement. Each difficulty becomes a teacher. Failure becomes feedback. Pain becomes information. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That shift in mindset is what separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. The people who rise above their circumstances aren't the ones with fewer struggles. They're the ones who refuse to let struggle define them. Struggle also strips away illusion. It shows you what you truly believe, what you truly value, and what you're truly capable of. When life gets hard, you can't fake strength. You either build it or you break. But even in breaking, there's rebuilding. Struggle forces honesty. It reveals your weaknesses, yes, but in doing so, it gives you the chance to turn them into strengths. Without those moments of tension, you would never discover your potential. You'd live your life comfortably confined within the limits of what's familiar. The reason many people never reach their full potential is not because they lack ability, but because they avoid discomfort. They never stay in the process long enough to see transformation happen. They quit right before the breakthrough because the pain feels like punishment when in reality it's preparation. The truth is, nothing great is ever born from avoidance. The most successful people, the most fulfilled people, the ones who live with purpose and passion, they're the ones who didn't run from struggle. They leaned into it. They allowed it to shape them. If you want to become someone extraordinary, you must be willing to endure what ordinary people won't. Struggle isn't there to stop you, it's there to sharpen you. It's the training ground where discipline, grit, and resilience are forged. You can't develop emotional strength without going through emotional pain. You can't develop confidence without facing fear. Every challenge is an invitation to grow, and every time you accept that invitation, you step closer to the person you're meant to be. So when you find yourself in a difficult season, don't curse it. Don't wish it away. Remember that this is the part of the story that builds you. The struggle is the sculptor, and you are the stone. Every strike, every setback, every hardship is shaping something within you that comfort never could. The path you're trying to avoid is the very path that will reveal your strength and character, if only you're brave enough to walk it. True success is built slowly through deliberate and patient effort, not speed. In a world addicted to immediacy, where everything from food to feedback arrives in seconds, patience has become a forgotten virtue. We've been conditioned to believe that faster is better, that progress must be visible, measurable, and constant. But real success, the kind that lasts, doesn't happen overnight. It's not the result of a single breakthrough moment. It's the outcome of thousands of small, intentional steps taken over time. Speed might get you attention, but patience earns you mastery. Quick wins might feel satisfying, but slow, steady progress is what creates a legacy. The people who achieve meaningful success understand that growth takes time. They don't rush the process because they know that everything great is built on a strong foundation. Think about how nature works. A tree doesn't grow tall the day after it's planted. It spends years growing roots underground before anyone ever sees it rise. The same principle applies to your goals. You can't build something strong without first investing in what's unseen. The time you spend learning, practicing, and refining doesn't always produce visible results, but it's shaping the strength that will sustain you later. Impatience is what destroys potential. It makes people quit too early, settle too soon, or chase illusions that promise speed but deliver nothing lasting. There's a difference between moving fast and moving forward. Fast is frantic, forward is intentional. Fast is about appearances, forward is about direction. Success built on speed alone tends to collapse the moment pressure appears because it was never truly earned, it was assembled in haste. Patience, on the other hand, allows you to build something that endures. It teaches you timing, judgment, and self-control. It trains you to focus on what matters most rather than what's immediately visible. The slow path is not the weak path, it's the wise one. Because what you build slowly, you understand deeply, and what you understand deeply, you can sustain. When you try to rush success, you rob yourself of the lessons the process is trying to teach you. Every delay, every setback, every pause in progress is a teacher. Patience doesn't mean passivity, it means persistence without desperation. It's the discipline to keep going without demanding instant proof that it's working. It's showing up again and again, even when the world doesn't notice, because you believe in the value of what you're building. In a culture of shortcuts, patience becomes a superpower. It allows you to think long term, to build relationships that last, to refine skills that others give up on, and to achieve results that compound over time. The truth is, impatience often comes from fear. Fear that you're falling behind, that you're missing out, that you're not doing enough. But progress isn't a race. Everyone's timeline is different. The people you compare yourself to may be ahead in one season, but if your foundation is stronger, you'll eventually outlast them. The ones who build slowly build wisely. They understand that success earned too quickly can fade just as fast. When you grow slowly, you grow strong enough to handle the weight of what you've built. You don't crumble under pressure because your patience has prepared you to endure it. The path of deliberate effort is often the quietest one. It's not filled with big announcements or viral moments. It's filled with small, consistent actions that most people overlook. The great musicians, the skilled craftsmen, the visionary leaders, they all spent years in obscurity before their work was recognized. They didn't chase applause, they chased improvement. They focused not on how quickly they could reach the top, but on how solid their craft would be once they got there. The reward of patience is not just success, it's confidence, depth, and sustainability. Every day you choose to take one step, even a small one, you're building momentum that compounds over time. That's how progress really works. It's invisible at first and then suddenly undeniable. You may not see results right away, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Just like a seed beneath the soil, your effort is taking root before it blooms. Most people never see their success bloom because they stop watering it too soon. They get frustrated when growth doesn't come fast enough and abandon the very process that would have delivered it. Speed is tempting because it promises control, but patience gives you mastery. It teaches you to trust timing instead of forcing it. It helps you develop wisdom instead of just results. You begin to understand that everything worthwhile requires seasoning, relationships, skills, businesses, even your own mindset. The waiting, the repetition, the slow pace, it all serves a purpose. It refines you in ways that speed never could. When you look back after years of steady effort, you'll realize the slow path was never slow at all. It was just the right pace for lasting growth. The irony of true success that often comes to those who stop chasing it frantically and start committing to the process fully. The ones who don't demand instant results, but instead build patiently, deliberately with care and intention. Because in the end, the goal isn't just to get there quickly. It's to build something worth arriving at. Real success isn't found in speed. It's found in the steady rhythm of doing the work, day after day, until time finally reveals what patience has built. Every shortcut eventually brings you back to the starting line. The work you skip becomes your future obstacle. It's human nature to want things fast. We crave progress that feels immediate, results that come quickly, and recognition that arrives without delay. But every time we try to bypass the process, every time we take the easier route, we plant the seeds of future setbacks. Shortcuts may look like progress in the beginning, but they're just illusions, temporary victories that cost you long-term growth. The work you avoid today doesn't disappear. It simply waits for you at the next stage, stronger and harder than before. People often chase shortcuts because they believe time is their enemy. They think cutting corners will get them ahead, that skipping the hard steps will save energy or accelerate success. But the truth is, every corner you cut becomes a corner you'll have to go back and rebuild later. The skipped steps become cracks in your foundation, and when pressure arrives, and it always does, those cracks reveal themselves. Whether it's in business, health, relationships, or personal growth, unearned progress never lasts. You can fake results for a while, but you can't fake the foundation. Shortcuts make you feel like you're winning, but what you're really doing is delaying mastery. You might reach a certain point faster, but without depth, you'll plateau. And when you do, you'll realize you're not equipped to handle the challenges at that level. The athlete who cheats in training will break down in competition. The entrepreneur who shortcuts learning will collapse when the market shifts. The student who memorizes instead of understanding will struggle when real application begins. Every skipped effort becomes a lesson that must eventually be learned, sometimes painfully, sometimes publicly. Real progress is built on preparation. The small, repetitive, often invisible efforts are what make you strong enough to handle success. When you skip those steps, you don't save time, you borrow it. And borrowed time always comes with interest. The work you didn't do earlier will demand double effort later. You can't escape it, you can only delay it. The process exists for a reason. It's not there to slow you down, it's there to prepare you. Every struggle, every repetition, every detail you master is part of building your capacity for the next level. When you skip the process, you might reach the destination faster, but you won't have the strength to stay there. There's a quiet irony in how shortcuts work. They make you feel smart in the moment, but expose you in the long run. The momentary ease blinds you to the hidden cost. The student who cheats on exam feels relief now, but faces insecurity later. The person who buys followers feels popular now, but lacks real influence later. The employee who cuts effort feels efficient now, but gets replaced later. Life has a way of revealing everything that was never truly earned. The universe doesn't punish you for skipping the work, it simply reintroduces it until you learn it properly. The reason shortcuts are so tempting is that the real path looks ordinary. Hard work, discipline, patience, these things don't feel exciting in the moment, but that's what makes them powerful. The people who commit to doing the work the right way, even when no one is watching, end up building something real, something that lasts. When others are chasing quick results, they're quietly building skill, confidence, and depth. And when the time comes, those qualities give them the kind of advantage that shortcuts can never match. The work you avoid doesn't just affect your results, it shapes your identity. Every time you choose the shortcut, you teach yourself to settle. You teach yourself to escape discomfort instead of facing it. Over time, that becomes who you are, someone who prefers easy over earned, quick over quality. But when you do the work, even when it's hard, you build a different kind of strength, the kind that carries over into every area of life. You become dependable, resilient, and capable of handling complexity. You learn to trust yourself because you know your results are real, not borrowed. When you look at people who have achieved lasting success, you'll notice something consistent. They respect the process. They don't rush it, and they don't try to cheat it. They understand that what they build slowly will stand the test of time. The person who embraces the long road might arrive later, but they arrive ready. They arrive prepared. They arrive strong. Because they've faced every challenge along the way, they've earned their position instead of lucking into it. And because of that, no setback can take it away from them. You can spend your life trying to find faster ways to the top, but every shortcut you take will eventually turn into a detour. You'll have to return to the very place you tried to skip and face the same lessons again, only this time with less energy and more regret. The process you tried to avoid will wait patiently because growth doesn't negotiate. It requires what it requires. So the sooner you embrace the work, the sooner you move forward for real. Every step you take the right way may feel slower, but it's actually the fastest route to something permanent. Because the truth is simple, shortcuts don't save time, they waste it. The only real way forward is through the work itself. When you embrace the process, you become the person capable of sustaining long-term success. Everyone dreams of achieving something great, to build, to lead, to inspire, to succeed. But few realize that success isn't just about reaching a goal, it's about becoming the kind of person who can handle what that goal demands. The process, with all its challenges, delays, and difficulties, is not a barrier to success. It's the training ground for it. Every step, every struggle, every repetition is shaping you into the person who can carry the weight of what you're asking for. When you rush through it, you may get what you want, but you won't yet be the person ready to keep it. The process is where character is built. It's where your discipline is tested, your patience is stretched, and your mindset is sharpened. Success without character collapses under pressure. It's easy to chase results, but results are fragile when they're not backed by maturity and self-awareness. When you truly embrace the process, you stop fixating on outcomes and start focusing on becoming. You begin to measure progress by who you are becoming through the work, not just by what you're achieving because of it. The person who learns to value the process becomes grounded, steady, and capable of navigating success without losing themselves in it. There's a reason most people who achieve quick success struggle to sustain it. They never develop the habits and emotional stability to manage it. The process is not just about learning how to win, it's about learning how to handle winning. It teaches you humility when things go well and resilience when they don't. It teaches you how to stay focused when distractions tempt you, and how to stay calm when challenges appear. The process gives you emotional depth and perspective. It turns ambition to wisdom and potential into power. Without it, success feels empty and temporary. With it, success becomes meaningful and sustainable. Embracing the process means accepting that progress isn't always visible. It means trusting that every effort counts even when there's no applause. There will be seasons when you work hard and nothing seems to move. You'll question yourself, you'll doubt your direction, and you'll wonder if it's all worth it. But that's exactly where transformation happens. The process doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes you. It turns impatience into endurance, uncertainty into confidence, and fear into courage. What feels like delay is actually development. You're being shaped into the person who can hold the success you've been preparing for. When you embrace the process, you stop needing shortcuts because you understand that every part of the journey serves a purpose. The rejections, the failures, the slow progress, they're all refining you. Each obstacle you overcome teaches you how to handle more responsibility, how to stay grounded in pressure, and how to remain committed when excitement fades. You start to realize that the goal was never just to reach the top, it was to become unshakable enough to stay there. Every great leader, artist, athlete, or entrepreneur who has built something lasting did so not because of talent alone, but because they learned to love the grind. They found purpose in the process. The process also reveals your true values. It strips away the superficial motivations and forces you to confront why you're doing what you're doing. When things don't happen as quickly as you hoped, you discover whether your drive is rooted in ego or purpose. If it's ego, you'll quit when recognition doesn't come. But if it's purpose, you'll stay committed no matter how long it takes. The process separates the ones who want success from the ones who are meant for it. Because the ones who are meant for it don't just want the result, they want the growth that comes from earning it. Long-term success demands more than skill, it demands substance. You can't build something that lasts if you haven't built the person who can sustain it. The process is the crucible that forges that substance. It's where you learn emotional control, adaptability, patience, and integrity. It's where you learn that doing the right thing consistently is more important than doing the easy thing occasionally. It's where you learn that small habits compound into major transformations. By embracing the process, you're not just improving your work, you're building your foundation. And that foundation matters more than anything else. Because success will test you. It will amplify your strengths, but also your weaknesses. If you haven't gone through the process, success can overwhelm you. You'll sabotage opportunities because you never learned how to manage them. But when you've walked the long road, when you've failed, learned, adapted, and persisted, you've already built the resilience and awareness to sustain success when it arrives. You won't be shaken by challenges because you've already faced harder ones. You won't be controlled by external validation because you've learned to find fulfillment in progress itself. In the end, the process gives you something results never can: transformation. It turns your ambition into alignment and your potential into purpose. You become stronger, calmer, and more grounded. You stop chasing success and start embodying it. Because real success isn't about what you achieve. It's about who you become through the work it takes to achieve it. When you embrace the process, you're not waiting to become successful someday. You're already becoming that person right now, one deliberate step at a time. At the heart of it all, the message is simple. There are no shortcuts, no hidden formulas, no secret paths. The work itself is the path, and it's the only one that leads anywhere worth going. Every moment you spend searching for an easier way is a moment you could have spent becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. The process may feel slow, but it's molding you into someone who doesn't just achieve success, but sustains it, honors it, and grows through it. The truth is, the journey will never be perfect. There will be frustration, doubt, failure, and fear, but those moments are not detours. They're the design. They are shaping the foundation beneath your success. Because the goal isn't to arrive untested, it's to arrive prepared. The work you're doing, the effort you're giving, and the consistency you're maintaining, even when no one sees it, that's what makes the difference. In the end, the ones who rise aren't the ones who found the fastest route. They're the ones who kept walking when others stopped. They didn't wait for motivation or luck or hacks. They simply showed up every single day and did the work. And that's the paradox of greatness. What feels like the long way around turns out to be the fastest way forward. Because while others are searching for shortcuts, you're building strength, skill, and character, and those can never be taken away. So stop looking for the easy way. Trust the process. Do the work. Because when the world is chasing secrets, you'll already know the truth. The work is and always will be the shortcut.